Helen, who thinks Valentine's Day is all about leaving?
This must be Boris Johnson, improbably our Foreign Secretary, who used Valentine's Day to give a speech about his roadmap to Brexit. And his roadmap to Brexit basically consists of a big sign that says Brexit will be great, and then nothing else at all. The speech was incredibly boring. I thought, the worst thing about a Boris Johnson speech was it was going to be packed full of terrible jokes, but he managed to only do one joke about sex tourism. That's for him. That's a kind of a statesman-like thing to do. But it was in a really extraordinary speech because he tried to get this idea that everything's going to be brilliant after Brexit because we'll still be able to go on cheapo stag do's to ancient cities. He said, and I just thought, this is it, isn't it? This is, we're talking about trade policy, and the only thing we can think about exporting is pissed-up lads from Darlington dressed as Smurfs. That's it. That's all we've got left now on the global stage. So it wasn't my favourite. It was no I Have a Dream. Let's put it that way.
He was sweating, he looked flustered. Something's gone wrong, hasn't it? I think maybe he's been found out by himself. He's clearly he's a clever man, and he's finally figured out that he is useless.
Andy?
I was rather intrigued by Boris saying that Brexit was not a V sign from the cliffs of Dover, which, incidentally, is my favourite Vera Lynch. But also, I think, to be honest, I think that is what we voted for, isn't it? I'm sure there was in some of the campaign literature I got that they would build a giant V sign at the cliffs of Dover that would be about 1.5 kilometres high, visible from all points on continental Europe, that could be then used with a large elastic bands to fire illegal asylum back wherever they came from. That is what we voted for.
Do you think Valentine's Day is a good day for Boris to be making a speech?
I'm surprised that Boris Johnson hadn't got a lot on Valentine's Day. He must have a lot to keep on top of, as it were.
Maybe that's why he was so sweaty.
I don't feel like this is anything even to do with Brexit anymore. I just feel like the country's now locked like the Norse gods in a battle between Jeremy Hunt, George Osborne, Michael Gove and Boris Johnson, who through their whole lives and boyhoods have all individually decided that at some point they're going to be Prime Minister. And they can't all be Prime Minister. And they're sort of realising that one of them, at the outside chance, two of them might become Prime Minister. And now it's just the four of them kind of battling it out. And it's nothing really to do with the country anymore. So we should put the four of them in a room for as long as it takes until one of them wins, and they can come out and be Prime Minister for a month, and then they can get executed. And then we can just put this whole thing behind us. I think that sounds eminently reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it would be a shame if this ended in no executions, wouldn't it? Yes.
But just over a year now until the trapdoor is catapulted on the 29th of March. If all goes according to the current schedule. Admittedly, that is the biggest if since Rudyard Kipling started projecting the titles of his poems onto the night skies above Gotham City. 29th of March, that's a great anniversary. That's the anniversary of the Battle of Towton in 1461, which is the single bloodiest day of fighting in the history of these islands. 28,000 people killed in a single day of hand-to-hand combat. You just have to admire the logistics of that and the work rate of our youngsters back in 1461. I don't think they'd do it. I don't think we'd kill each other in those numbers these days. Our youngsters would take one look at that battlefield and say, no, I'm not doing that. And we'd have to hire in a load of Poles to kill each other just to get
But it's because of the health and safety madness of the EU that we haven't been able to have those battles.
This is Boris Johnson's big Brexit speech, his Valentine's Day gift to the nation. Johnson tried to assure the public that Brexit can be grounds for hope rather than fear. As in that popular phrase, a tremendous hope of the unknown. This is supposed to be one of a number of speeches by members of the Cabinet on Brexit to arrive in the coming days, so plenty to look forward to. I can't wait to see what Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, David Lidington, comes out with. There won't be a dry seat in the House. The Foreign Secretary delivered very much a greatest hit speech, a few off-colour gags, a dash of Latin, and some unnecessarily long words. All he needed to do to complete the set was zip-line off the stage and into somebody else's wife. Boris argued we as a nation should unite around the things we all believe in. If the last few years have taught us anything, there is absolutely nothing that we all believe in. other than it was a bit sad when the lady on the ice skates fell over. Boris did say that Brexit does not involve giving a V sign from the White Cliffs of Dover, although he hasn't ruled out mooning from the window of a speeding Eurostar. 2 points to Helen.